The world has always been fascinated with serial killers, and in the times and society that we live in, the world is plagued with channels like the ID channel, countless documentaries, and there is such a huge fascination with serial killers. So today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite and most underrated serial killer movies ever made, and that movie is The Golden Glove.
Nee, ist mir zu hässlich. Und wer sind Sie? Herr Honka.
I'm Chuck. I'd love to be your movie guy, and this is a channel that I'm starting here on YouTube to go a little more in depth to the things that I love about film. I do horror movies. I love extreme movies. I love things that are not afraid to push the boundaries of expression in the horror space. So I figured that I would start talking about them a little bit more in depth. And The Golden Glove is one of the most unsettling serial killer movies ever made. And it's about a notorious German serial killer named Fritz Honka, who was convicted of murdering 4 women, dismembering each and every one of them, and keeping them back at his flat. And the way that this movie comes off with capturing the aesthetic of 1970s Hamburg, where this happened, and the bar where he would pick these women of the night up, and that bar was called The Golden Glove. The way that this movie feels and the way that they drop you into this time in the mind of Fritz Honka just gives you such an unsettling feeling the entire runtime of the movie. It's a setup about his life, about how he grew up, and about how he chooses to select his victims, what he chooses to do with his victims. And you get to go on this journey with this notoriously awful human being. But that's the element that brings this movie to life, to give it the natural aesthetic that it has. It's very much in the vein of like Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. It's that type of narrative that the structure of this movie takes. So Fritz Honka was a man who grew up. He had a weird relationship with his parents. As we go through Honka's life, he had several different jobs. He was a bricklayer. He worked for the Shell Corporation. But whenever he got a little bit older in age is whenever these murders started to happen, as far as the authorities could trace back. But he would go down to this bar called the Golden Glove, and he would find women that were interested in him. And if you see the picture of him over here, he wasn't the greatest looking guy because he had some, a little bit of deformity, and the way that his appearance was a little bit off-putting to certain people. But he would find these women who were often women of the night and night workers, and he would lure them in with his charm and buy them drinks, and then it would always turn into, hey, do you want to come back to my flat? And once they went back to the flat, the ones that have been proven were then abused, strangled, and dismembered, and he kept a lot of those remains in his flat, and that ultimately led to the demise of how he was caught due to the odor and the stench coming from his flat. And the reason that it ultimately led to his capture is because the apartment building that Honka lived in caught fire, and he was masking the smell of the dismembered pieces of people in his attic with perfume. But whenever it caught fire and the hotel was burning, that's ultimately what led to his demise of being caught, because the stench of the burning bodies and the fire of the building. The Golden Glove was directed by Faith Aiken, and it also stars Jonas Dassler as Fritz Honka. And if you look at Jonas, the special effects, the makeup of what they did to this young man to transform him into Fritz Honka is one of the most magnificent things that sells this movie. The Golden Glove is a movie that you're going to watch that's going to make you feel completely and totally uncomfortable. It's a very unsettling dirty, filthy movie that's going to make you feel like you need to take a shower whenever it's over, because it's just that kind of movie. But the way that it plays out, almost, I don't want to say in a documentary style, but it just feels so rich with history of the explanation of Fritz Honka that it almost feels like a documentary style, even though it's totally not shot like that. This is a straight up movie from beginning to end. But whenever you hear about serial killer movies or serial killers, everybody always talks about John Wayne Gacy or, Ed Gein. And these things are so popular, especially with like those Netflix shows and everything that's going on. But whenever I ask people, have you seen The Golden Glove? A lot of people have not heard of this movie. A lot of people have not seen this movie. But, a simple Google search will take you to where The Golden Glove is streaming, because it's on multiple platforms. Rent it. I think you could even purchase it. But if you're looking for a very serious, extreme, boundary-pushing, ultra-realistic, filthy, dark, and disturbing serial killer movie, you cannot go wrong with The Golden Glove, because not only is it all of those things, but from a filmmaker's perspective, it's also just a flat-out fantastic movie about serial killers. Let me know in the comments if you have seen The Golden Glove. Let me know what some of your favorite serial killer movies are. And also, most of all, let me know how you like this video and if you would like for me to do more long form content on these films such as this, because this is something, a little bit of nerves, because this is my first long form video that I've ever shot. And this is something that I really want to do. So any kind of feedback that you throw in the comments would be greatly appreciated. And always remember, like, share, and keep independent film alive. Please support, please share this, and let me know if you would like more. But until the next time, I'm Chuck. I'd love to be your movie guy. I'll see you next time.